so much, Yolanda, my fellow continent mate. I'm Phyllis Mwangi from Kenya. And in form of an introduction, I am an entrepreneur. However, since 2016 up to March 2021, I was the resident consultant for the She Trades Commonwealth project in Kenya, a project that was funded by the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office and has seen women in 4 sectors, especially agribusiness. I was really happy to see the products that, that the lady showcased, from Eva's Coffee to what was the other brand? I forget the name of the brand. She you know, the handbag that she showed, those were members that we worked with in the long term and the short term. Was a 3-year project. And so we generated about $24 million US in terms of sales for women in business, about 3,000 women impacted in Kenya. So that gave me a new vision and a new zeal and a new desire, because I realized, yes, there are blockages, but there are also massive opportunities for women in business. So as an entrepreneur, I run a company. Edge Consult is the company. We've been in business since 2007. Running productivity skills from customer care, sales and marketing, and leadership, team effectiveness for local corporates in Kenya, including the UN and across the globe. And one other company that I run, which I'm really passionate about, is a technology company, Tandao Commerce, which is currently running, you know, flower shops and products, you know, drop shipping to the US market. So I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur. And really from 2012, that's how long the journey has been. And just realizing the changes from, you know, the financial systems, the logistics, and even platforms, a lot has changed. And I think the opportunities are really big. And I'm, you know, ready to share this with men and women alike. In previous engagements as a consultant, I've worked with the Vital Voices, VV Grow, on the Accelerator Program for Women in Africa up to 2016. I've worked with Goldman Sachs, the 10,000 Women Program, worked with IFC, Business Edge, I'm a facilitator there, World Bank, and also a recipient of the Goldman Sachs Award in 2008. So that's the long and the short. I'm really looking forward to the discussion. Thank you, Anne and the Regal team, for doing a really great job to bring us all together. Well, thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. I think I'm gonna pick it up from where Yavi left. I'm total agreement with what she's talked about. And there's a concept, one of the new things that's really coming up, a global trend, is the concept of aggregation. I think you both alluded to the fact that there are, you know, the digital divide is huge. And it's widening in Africa by the day because of access to, you know, digital services. And so I think I want to put in the concept of aggregation right there in the middle, because this will be one of the solutions to closing this gap. And it's a new trend. For example, let me give an example. In the fashion industry, we have women who've come up with, let me give the example of Kenyan brands, but they are not able, okay, let me say Kenyan brands with maybe beadwork, but they're not able to do the beadwork by themselves. So to bring in the women and the girls from the counties, then they partner with these women to produce a certain part of their brand, maybe the beadwork, and they attach it to their brand and sell it globally. And so there's a new word that has been coined recently that's called global. So this company is global, but it's local. So it's got both local and global touch. The value chain has just expanded from the grassroots all the way to Germany. So there are women participating, and this is now the art of aggregation. That is in the world of fashion. In the world of you know, e-commerce, it's really Jumia. It's Africa. There's so many of them that are aggregating. So they provide the technical services, and you focus on your product and your pricing and your quality, and then you also focus on delivering the product, you know, to the end customer. So I think one of the global trends that I have highlighted right now is, you know, just the art of aggregation. It's in agribusiness, it's in fashion, it's in, you know, e-commerce, it's everywhere. And I think this is one of the things that will bridge the gap between the local and the really rural producers that are very gifted with the international market. That's a really great connect. I think the next part that's coming up, the next one that's coming up very strong is sustainability. Of course, we have the SDG, the Sustainability Development Goals, the SDGs. And these, I think from 2020 ceased to be, there was a theory. We understood, the theory of sustainability, great. Let's get rid of the plastic and bring in the paper. And there was a buzz around it. But I think it's only until 2020 that a new trend has emerged. So many people are really beginning to understand, all the way to the, last part of the value chain, is what is ethical sourcing? What is ethical packaging? What is ethical business practice? So the concept of people, planet, and profit is coming up so strong that you can have the fact that, number one, we are going local. We are building local, global businesses with a local touch. People have entered into a global world, but so the unethical practices of, corruption, unethical practices of not paying your staff well or not paying them at all, that has got to go. So that's a wonderful new trend, and the world of human resources really needs to come in and help us with sustainability. And it's not just on human resource, but on everything from material sourcing to taking care of the earth, to eco. Sustainability is key. I think the third one I'm going to jump to is there's an appreciation, there's a global appreciation for local products. Not only, you see, and I don't know why I didn't get her name. You can help me with it if you can remember her name. The lady who spoke last from, is she based in Germany? And she showed the coffee and she showed the handbag. I really liked that there's such a demand. Yes, I can see Joy. That was Joy Zen's. Thank you. Yeah, so Joy had a very, to me, it was a classic example that there's so much desire for, number one, the diaspora, and not just the diaspora, but it's like we've entered a moment. The world just is appreciative of Africa. It's like Africa is coming into her own. The Africans are starting to realize we've got value to give. We've got a lot on the table that we had not yet realized, and now we are waking up to it. So there's a great, great need for branding. And so when we do business model canvas, we talk about the fact that you're developing a local business means if you had a shop before and you were servicing the Kitui community in one county in Kenya, it means all of a sudden, if you go on e-commerce, which is now very possible, you're not going to build a brand just for Kenyans. You're going to build a brand for Germany, Switzerland, Netherlands, because whether you like it or not, you're global. So even if you're intending to be a local company, the moment you go on the world is flat, then right there, you have to begin to package well. You have to begin to make sure the quality is good. You have to go through all those certifications and realize you just perhaps need to focus on one or two products as opposed to selling a million products. Focus on one or two and look for your customer. If you name that customer Joy, and that Joy, you characteristics of that customer, what are the, who is that customer across the globe? Because suddenly you've been opened up to the Joy in Kitui, and then the Joy in Kenya, but then there's also the Joy in Africa and the Joy in, international markets. So suddenly your business can go to the billions if you focus well. So there's a great appreciation for local, ethnic, whether it's sourcing, local branding, local marketing, and local products out there. I think I'll stop there and I'll continue, with the next question. Thank you for that. I think the one thing that we can get really right is education. And so for the digital world is what we're calling the STEM education, and now they're including arts in it. So STEM or STEAM is science, what is it? STEM, S-T-E-M, science, technology, engineering, and math, and now arts. The arts. I think that's so critical to rope them in, right? Not when they finish high school, not when they finish university, but right from the curriculum level. I think I'm a great beneficiary of an education system in Kenya that, put in a lot of handwork and brick making. I remember making bricks. I remember doing practical agriculture, practical home science, practical music. So I think that needs to be put in the education system, that, we are messaging same for the boy child, same for the girl child, that if women can, be doctors and must be educated to become doctors. The next thing I want to talk about is capacity building, if it's after high school or during university, after university, and you're a young woman trying business, the element of capacity building is a must. Because what do I mean by capacity building? It's a big word that's simply broken to say there's, training, there is mentorship, there is coaching, because in this space is where minds are changed and, minds are transformed in capacity building. It's in a class that I got to learn. I sometimes wonder, how did I learn how do I know all this? It's because I sat in different classes long after my university to understand that there is something for women and this is what to do with the women. So capacity building is so critical. And I would like to say that I think government, business support organizations, and university institutions, training institutions, we really need them to come up and help in this area of capacity building, not mattering what the sector may be, just aligning, a lot of training needs to happen and changing of mind on what is our space and how do you strategically occupy that space, either with a service or with a product. And let me also say something I didn't mention that I was leaving for the next one, that if you had a business in, let's say, landscaping, and 2020 happened and it went off, it crashed. Do you realize that then you can do services? You can pivot onto services where you teach people how to landscape their garden, because now you're moving into knowledge industry. If you're a coffee farmer and perhaps, just as an addition, because coffee did very well in 2020, as an addition, it's not that your business collapsed, but on the side, if you're a great coffee farmer, it would be nice to know how coffee is grown. It would be nice to know how different grades of coffee happen, how different types of coffee happen. And now that the world is a coffee drinking world, they would all be listening. If you have a farmer who, then brings in young people who can talk about what's the process of coffee making, that's how we need to begin to engage the younger people. They will do the social media, they will do the content, they will be on YouTube, they'll be on social media. Eventually, not only are you just earning from coffee, but you're also earning from content on coffee. And the world is just exploding and you're also branding yourself. So I think that's what I would like to bring in. And not just coffee, not just landscaping, but literally every business. It's said that by 2025, the knowledge industry, the self-education industry is going to be a $1 billion a day, $1 billion a day. So I think this is an opportunity for the youth that we really must begin to look at, just the entire service of content. Yeah. And so have you ever noticed there's something that's consistent in life, that let's take the job market. There's so many people looking for jobs, and then there are so many organizations looking for workers, but finding the right match is always an issue. In the same way, think about this. Think of, there's so many women in business, and there's so many banks saying that they're financing women, but always there seems to be, just a bit of a gap, and not a bit, a big gap. Okay, what else? We say that that's access to finance, jobs, youth looking for jobs, and many organizations in this season have come out and talked about, policies. They've made policies that they're, in terms of supplier diversity, they want to bring in more women-owned businesses to become suppliers. Because as you would know, I got this from WeConnect. WeConnect is one of the organizations that's doing, that's really focused on supplier diversity on the private sector. They say that up to how much? Up to Africa, sorry, not Africa. It talks about, where I wrote my notes somewhere and I can't quite see it, but something like the women in the world only access less than 2% of the global trade that happens within organizations. Only 2%. And so there's work to be done. Okay, so based on your question, you asked then how, what's the solution? For me, one of the big things is, I think I'm going to challenge business support organizations, because to me, I believe a lot in, there's a middleman. There has to be somebody in the middle who sees one problem. Don't try and fix all of them, just fix one. For example, we need one organization in Africa that is the go-to place when it comes to Africa free trade for women in business, the small ones. I think Yavi has said she's probably in that space. We need them to take and amplify that voice. Just one issue, Africa free trade. What is in it for small women in business, small businesses, sorry. What is it for youth? What is in it? What are rules of origin? How can they participate? Are we missing something? What policies are being created? What's the free trade looking like? What are the tariffs? What are the non-tariffs? What's all that going on? And become the go-to organization for information on Africa Free Trade Agreement. Take the next big piece, digitization. Let's have one business support organization that becomes the go-to place for digitization. Now, all of them are intertwined. However, if you put 70% of your work on digitization, we're going to notice that's your brand. If you put 70% of Africa on Africa Free Trade, we'll notice that's your brand, because in between you still need, you still need digitization, you still need, the next thing I would say is product development and design, packaging, just how the product looks. Let one business support organization pick just product development and work purely 70-80% on product development. And then let these business support organizations that are well-funded, well-organized, begin to network amongst one another. And the continent will be totally different. So how do we need to ensure that we realize this potential on the ground? There's international funders looking for a good idea, a good business, great women to, women-owned businesses to finance, but there's no match. And I pray that the business support organizations can become that match, that then if a private sector member is looking for a woman to supply in, construction material, hey, there's someone in the database that is vetted, that is already known, is vetted by their business support organization. They can be fronted, and then the next part of the due diligence can go on with the private sector. So I think that's, for me, is how we can help, this women in business to trade and to scale. I think the next thing is for all, business support organizations and anyone in trade support, like also Africa Trade, Regis, Anne and team, is to really focus on training women-owned businesses and the youth how to razor-sharp focus, to really pick razor-sharp focus. The concept of one customer going global is a big opportunity right now. And then put around, using the business model canvas, put around that idea, put what exactly are you selling? Who exactly is your customer? How will you deliver? How will they pay? Just business model, and make sure that it is scalable. That it's, we say that if you get sick, your business gets sick, then you're really not in business. If you get pregnant and your business is pregnant, then you're really not in business. You are self-employed. So you need to move it. And that's what someone was talking about, scalability. How scalable is your business? If you go on holiday for 2 days, does your business also go on holiday? It's not just about being sick, it's even just taking time off, which is critical for women in business. So I think that would be my point. Scalability is something we as business support organizations and support institutions need to really look at for the upcoming businesses that we're working with. So those are my 2 cents. Okay, so I just, I found my previous notes. It says from WeConnect website, it says that women in business, women-owned businesses still earn less than 1% of the global billions of dollars spent on suppliers annually. And my parting shot and my pledge would be, I have a very clear line of sight on what to do about that, whether it's private sector engagement or private sector policy development, so that we can, and then also on the other side, ensuring that women-owned businesses are well trained and well prepared to take up these big billions, because there's a policy statement. Most of them are saying they are bringing in more women-owned businesses, and then we have very many women-owned businesses that are qualified and can't take up those jobs. And when you train a woman and when you give a woman opportunity to trade, eventually she brings in more women. Okay, so it says, when you touch a woman, you touch the entire village. So my commitment and my pledge is to find more women in business and connect them to private sector and international markets. Thank you.